professor is out there, Luke. Oh.
Professor!
No, Luke. Let him go.
Professor? Professor? Professor?
Indeed, Luke. Indeed, Luke.
Professor?
After all, Luke.
Professor?
Luke.
Professor? We're surrounded, Professor!
Calm yourself, Luke.
Professor Layton. Professor!
Hold on tight, Luke.
Professor!
Not to worry, Luke. Oh, no, my boy. Luke.
I'm sorry, Professor.
Luke. Luke.
Professor Layton?
Luke. Luke, listen. Luke, wait.
Professor!
Luke.
Professor!
Luke.
We can't just let this happen.
Luke.
Come on, what are you waiting for? We have to catch up
Luke,
with them.
calm down for a moment. Luke, wait. Ready, Luke?
Professor! 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 Professor Layton! Professor! Professor! Professor!
Luke.
Professor! 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 Professor!
Luke.
Professor! 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 Professor!
Luke. Luke.
Professor!
Come on, Luke.
Professor!
Luke. Luke. Luke.
Professor!
Luke, my boy.
Professor!
Will, my boy.
Professor!
Luke. Luke. Luke.
Professor! 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 Professor!
Thank you, my boy.
Professor! Professor! Professor!
Excellent work, my boy.